Hey IEs, I wanted to hop on real quick and I know that it can be very intimidating as an introvert to go to a networking event because you're in a room full of strangers and you're expected to have small talk, and we know we hate small talk. It's like the white bread of conversation. It has no nutritional value to us introverts. So it's one of those things that you dread, or at least I dread. I dread going to networking events, and I get nervous on the way on the drive there, and I'm practicing my 30-second elevator pitch because I want to get it perfect. But for me, the more I go to a certain group, the easier it gets, because I get to know people and I trust them, and I know that they're not gonna, and I'm not gonna get embarrassed. So it gets easier the more you go to a particular group. But I wanted to share with you a mixture of things I've learned over the years of networking. And so I've noticed that groups that have a financial commitment, the business owners are more regular and committed. So when you're first starting, you may want to go to the free ones, but just know that you're going to get a higher quality usually when you go to the ones that you have to pay for a monthly commitment. Because they are committed and they're going to be there on a regular basis because they're paying money for it. So there's a group called BNI that I had visited a few times when I was in Alabama. And I know that they kept their groups small, and for me that was helpful to have a small group to interact with. And they also had exclusivity, so if you went to that particular group, they broke into small groups, but they were a big organization. But in your particular group, you had exclusivity, so there couldn't be anyone else in your field or your industry to compete with. They also had a reward system, and I don't know if this is the case for all of them, all of the chapters, but they would reward you for, it was like a competition for how many referrals you could give people in the group, how many one-on-one meetings you could have with others to get to know them, and that was their way of building relationships and to have that commitment to helping each other out. Even if you couldn't buy from that particular business owner, you could refer someone to them, and that taught a very good lesson that when we're networking, we should be referring and not always think, oh, I can't help them, so I'm not gonna say anything to them. But you may know someone that you could send their way. And just keep that in mind, that whenever you go to a networking meeting, you need to be helping other people out. It's not all about you and your business. So there's some other groups I've heard of. A lot of them are female oriented because I am a female, but I'm sure there's some men counterparts too. But Fem City, Femfessionals, one I just heard about is NABO. I'm not thinking about what it stands for right now, but it's also for women. Chamber of Commerce is a good one. If you are male, you need that ability to go to a co-ed one. Sometimes you can get lucky by searching on Facebook. Entrepreneur or networking or some kind of keyword will pop up some, because, for example, in my area in South Carolina, it's called, there's one that I was going to called Women's Upstate Networking. And that Facebook group would post when the events were going to be, so you would know. So I got lucky to find that one. Sometimes you can find them on meetup.com, and I'm not sure how often that happens anymore, because I think Meetup charges their groups to have a group. So a new trend I've just recently noticed is online networking meetings, and those maybe like you pay $10 a meeting, and you hop on this Zoom call, and there might be 20 other people, and you can, I don't know how much interaction there is, but there's a speaker, and there might be some elevator pitches going on where you can share 30 seconds of your business, and then at the end you exchange information with everybody in the group. And the most important thing is to follow up with those people and get to know them that way outside of the meeting, because you're not going to get enough interaction in an online group like that. But that's a possibility if you don't have one in your area, is to start looking for some online meetings. And I found one the other day through Facebook, and she's offering it as an online thing, so they're out there. You just have to find them. So I wanted to give you a few quick tips for introverts specifically. One that I have learned is to prepare yourself and recharge before a social event like that. So don't have a huge busy day right before a meeting, because you're already going to be wiped out. You've already done your talking for the day, your 2 words, and you don't feel like interacting anymore. You're not going to come across as a very friendly person. And that's another thing, is you don't forget to smile and be friendly at the meeting, because we tend to pull back and we may be listening and trying to learn about other people, but we might have a serious look on our face, and we're not realizing that we don't look very friendly or approachable if we're thinking too much about the conversation. So smile and be friendly. Don't feel like you need to run around the room and grab business cards, because you're not going to develop solid relationships with 20 people in one day. So focus on just a few people, maybe 3 people that you pick out that you feel like you have a connection with, and have a longer conversation with them and get to know them. Now, the other people you can still grab business cards from later, but and follow up with them and get to know them outside of the meeting. But don't feel like you have to talk to everybody in the room. And that's what I used to do, and it was overwhelming, and it made no sense. I couldn't even remember who I had talked to, because I left with 20 cards, and I had no meaningful relationships after that meeting. So keep that in mind. Always be thinking, like I said earlier, about the value that you can add in the meeting. Don't be thinking it's all about me. Be thinking, who do I know that I could send to this person? And or just focus on getting to know them so that you can trust them enough to send people to them. But don't feel like you're going to make a sale that day, because it's not going to happen. You have to develop the relationship first. And a way to do that is through one-on-ones. So you want to schedule with those people that you connected with, schedule with them some one-on-one meetings, and meet them for coffee, and say, and actually prep them in advance. Say, hey, I just want to get to know your business better so that I know who to send to you and what kind of customer you're looking for. That way they know that you're not interested specifically in buying from them, but you're just trying to get to know them better to be able to send customers to them. And they will hopefully return the favor. I have had a couple experiences where for some reason the person did not understand what a one-on-one was, and they met with me and they just blew right into their 30-minute presentation and tried to sell me on their product. And it was like, this is not a true one-on-one. You are, yes, you are explaining your product, but when you pitch me at the end, that just frustrates me, and it makes me distrust you that that's all you wanted out of this meeting. So keep that in mind yourself. Don't go there pitching yourself. Ask tons of questions about them, and that makes them feel special. And then they will get to know you other ways through Facebook or whatever. And I mean, you can tell them about your business, of course, but don't make it a huge sales pitch. I hate that about one-on-one. If that's what it turns into be, it's not. I don't think it's meant to be that way. So that relieves some of the pressure for you to feel like you have to sell at that one-on-one. And yeah, I already talked about, don't feel like you have to talk to everyone in the room. You can always connect on Facebook later or email and make that connection then. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of something. Even if you've never been to a networking meeting, maybe this will give you some tips to think about before you head into one. If you want to talk to me about particular circumstances, feel free to message me. But I hope that this was helpful and valuable, and Shoot me some comments. I know that we talked the other day about whether you've been to meetings or not, but shoot me some comments about some struggles that you've had at meetings, or maybe some of this stuff clicked with you and you're like, oh yes, that would really help me. So I would love to hear from you. I hope that you guys have an awesome day.